Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So I wanted to talk about a rumor that's been going around at least as of today. It's been going around. I've been seeing a lot of people either retweeting me or messaging me and stuff, and it just sort of been this topic that is, I would say, of great interest. And other than that, though, I don't know if there's any real proof here, I guess, but we'll talk about that. So obviously, before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you want more Walking Dead content like this, especially because this Sunday is the very, very last episode of Walking Dead World Beyond. Now, I'm not expecting any big Rick thing to be announced or anything like that as of this Sunday, just because people who watch it on cable have to catch up, right? And so if there's going to be any announcement, it's going to be the following week. So it'll be on December 5th, right? If Gimple is on Talking Dead, so just keep an eye out for that. He might be, but even if he's not, they still might put out a press release or might announce something later on that night once World Beyond is over, right? So there is likely going to be some stuff, or at least there should be, right? Because The Walking Dead World Beyond was meant to set up the Rick movie. And so now that we're literally, I mean, it's going to be over for everybody within a week and a half or a little over a week and a half, there's got to be an announcement, right? There's got to be something that comes out. And the rumor right now is that they are likely going to be filming early next year. And so let's get into that, which actually, before we even jump into that, I know people are probably asking me where my Fear of the Walking Dead review is. That's coming out today. I'm going to be doing a review and a trailer breakdown, so stay tuned for that. I won't be late with any of the reviews, I promise. It's just I actually fixed my computer 2 days ago. And so for the last day or two, I've really just, honestly, I've been setting up so much stuff. I've paused streaming on Twitch for like the next couple of days because I want to set up the OBS thing. Like beforehand, whenever I did videos, it was, I mean, for the most part, I could do them, but it was slow. My computer was running super slow. But it turns out there was a setting in BIOS or something, this Intel thing that basically just limited my CPU, and it wasn't able to run properly at all. And so my dad helped me with that. I fixed it, and then boom, my computer's so fast, I can play any game I want on PC. And so I've just been messing around with that because honestly, it's been like 2 years, I would say, at least. It's been 2 years where my computer has been just like, it's so slow for no reason. I have a really good computer. Like, I spent a few grand on it. So anyway, so expect my Fear the Walking Dead review later on today, as well as the trailer breakdown for episode 8, which is the mid-season finale of season 7. So now let's get into this news here. So again, I don't know if this is credible at all. I have no idea of this account's like track record. I don't know anything of the sorts at all. I have no idea. So take this news with a grain of salt. If you know more than me, then I guess then you'll just know more than me about this account. But I don't know anything. I've just seen people say that this account has been right before about something in terms of a final season trailer thing or something like that. So anyways, let's get into it first and then we'll discuss. So it says potential Rick movie news. I heard several rumors from in and around Sonoya this week that there was some chatter from the crew going around that the first Rick Grimes movie will begin filming in early 2022 back in Georgia for 3 months. A few people listening in on certain crew members said they heard mentions of Andy coming back for RG1. This makes sense as the US just lifted the travel ban for US-British borders last week, which is why Andy Lincoln was not allowed to start filming this year as planned. This could line up along with The Walking Dead filming their final episodes, as they also wrap shooting the final season in early 2022 as well. So this is what I wanted to talk about. And that's why, like, regardless of whether or not this account is right or not, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I actually think this perfectly makes sense. If you remember in the spring or summer, actually, early in the spring, going back to even like kind of the wintertime, February, March, when Andrew Lincoln first made the comments that he was hoping to start filming the Rick movie in the spring, you know, once things like pandemic related kind of got better. Everyone was waiting for the borders to open up. That was basically what it was. People wanted the borders to open up because once they did, then, you know, you could film, you can do certain things. And I think the US, at least the Canada border, I know you've been able to travel there for a while, but it hasn't been land travel for the longest time. And obviously you can't really do land travel from the UK to the US. I guess you could probably take a boat, but still, you know what I mean? And so it really was just kind of waiting for all of those restrictions to go away. And it seems like a lot of those restrictions have now gone away. But obviously, you're not going to film right now in November when Thanksgiving for Americans is this weekend. That's usually when they go on break. Every year since they've started filming The Walking Dead, they usually go on break right as Thanksgiving happens, and then until like halfway into January. I mean, I guess as of lately they've been filming in January. Usually they wait until like May or something like that to start filming the new season, but obviously a different year. This is their last season, and we know that they are going to be filming until March, I believe, for the final season. And so that's why I think a lot of this makes sense right now. I think that's why they didn't start filming this year. I think earlier in the year, things started to look much more positive in terms of where this movie was going to go. They probably had a lot of things planned out for filming because obviously Andrew Lincoln said that. Like, he wouldn't have said that if he never heard anything, right? So they were planning to film this spring/summer. It's just what happened, right? And I am wondering if it was some of the border stuff, if it was some of the restrictions and things like that. And if partially Andrew Lincoln was kind of like, why don't we just wait? And like everyone else might have felt like, you know what, we'll just kind of wait with this. And a lot of it could be due to the fact that they have a lot of resources filming The Walking Dead, right? And so once The Walking Dead's over, a lot of those people that are going to be on the set for that are going to be now on set for the Rick movie, and they're going to start production for that right away. Because you got to remember too, like AMC is going to want to get this going, right? The Walking Dead is their big thing. The Daryl and Carol spinoff is also going to be pretty big. And I was thinking about it the other day. Tales of the Walking Dead is actually going to be pretty big as well. Probably like the most exciting thing besides the Daryl and Carol spinoff and obviously the Rick movie, just because you're going to have a lot of very exciting characters coming back. Like I'm almost like sure that Beta is returning next year. And so there's, you know, you can bring Carl back. You can bring the governor back. I know the governor is going to be back at some point. Like there's so much possibilities with that. But the Rick movie is like, going forward, that's going to be the main thing. And I would say second is like the Daryl and Carol spinoff just because of the characters. But once The Walking Dead ends, you know, you're just going to have spinoffs. And so having that Rick Grimes movie hype there, announcing some stuff, getting that movie out, starting to actually, you know, do your plan with the Rick movies. I think it actually makes so much sense. And so that's why I think, regardless of if this account is true or not, I actually think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, a lot of people have been around set lately. They have been getting a lot of pictures and videos and stuff. I've been seeing a lot of it on Twitter. It's really awesome. There's a lot of really cool stuff there with Rosita and Ezekiel. And honestly, it makes sense. Like that's actually what I said a few weeks ago. I said like they were most likely going to be filming in spring of next year, or not even spring, but early next year. And honestly, I'm thinking most likely April. I think right when part 2 ends of the final season, they're going to be filming. And apparently they're going to be filming for 3 months, at least according to this, which is, I guess, enough time to film the movie. I mean, it's not like they have to do a lot, right? I mean, they film for like, if you think of how many hours it is for The Walking Dead, right? That's like, what, 14 to 16 hours around there per season. And they film from like usually May to November. And that's like, what, 6 months right there? About 6 months. So 3 months to film a movie that's going to be 2 hours. Obviously, that gives them enough time. That does show that the movie is going to be a pretty big budget. And yeah, I think all this makes sense. Again, regardless of whether or not this account here is right, I think a lot of this makes sense. I think the fact that The Walking Dead is wrapping up shooting their final episodes here in March, I think the Rick movie is going to take over right after that. And so that's where I look to, you know, World Beyond ending in the next like week or two. I think that's what the announcement's going to be, honestly. I think Gimple's probably, I mean, he could announce a release date. He could announce a title or something like that. And then he might just say that, I mean, first of all, I don't even know about the title. I would be surprised if we got a title just because World Beyond didn't have a title until, what, a month before the show came out or something like that. It was so ridiculous. So I don't know about the Rick movie. Obviously, they'll release it, or they'll release the title and all that way beforehand because, I mean, you got to market this thing properly, right? I would just call it Rick Grimes, to be honest. I think it's simple. The name is recognizable. I mean, if you want, call it The Walking Dead Rick Grimes, but I don't think you need to use The Walking Dead in it. Honestly, I think if you want to have a refresher, because a lot of people, I think, I don't want to say they're sick of the Walking Dead name. Definitely not. But if you're looking at other fans, or I guess former fans of the show, you know, if they see something like Walking Dead in it, that they might just ignore it. Whereas if they see Rick Grimes, they might actually be like, wait, what the hell's that? You know what I mean? And so they might actually go and check out the movie. So I say call it Rick Grimes or Grimes. I think Rick Grimes works way better, though. It kind of reminds me of John Wick, to be honest. It's kind of cool. So yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts on this. I think it makes perfect sense. I really do believe, again, regardless of whether or not this is true, I do believe that they are going to be filming next year, just because I think it makes perfect sense. The movie is happening. I know we were all frustrated this year, but if you are looking back at everything, I mean, obviously they weren't going to film in 2019. They were just literally writing that thing. And then in 2020, everything shut down. And so it kind of postponed things. I also think they weren't completely ready. This year, I do think they were ready. Although Norman Reedus said the scope changed on some of it, I do think a lot of that was more of just like universe related and stuff like that. A lot of us don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but I think coming next year, they are obviously ready, especially because The Walking Dead is ending, right? I think that's the biggest giveaway right there. everyone's, all their resources, a lot of the production staff and etc. You know, a lot of what I guess you would want from The Walking Dead, they're working on The Walking Dead, right? So obviously, if you want them in the Rick movie for production, you're going to wait. And because it was literally ending right away, I think it makes the most sense. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like all of it kind of adds up a little bit. Because if they're going to be wrapping up next March, and if Andrew Lincoln comes back to film the Rick movie, I think it makes sense that you could film a little small thing in there for the final episode, right? And so, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for next March, next April. I mean, by the time that The Walking Dead actually wraps up filming next year, we're going to be watching part 2, which is pretty insane. And then, I mean, just think about it. Like, if they start filming next, like March, April, May, just say within those 3 months there, they could put together a small little teaser for Comic-Con next year, you know, for going into the final part. And then we could get our first teaser trailer for the Rick movie next fall, I guess, after the Rick movie ends, or after the Rick movie ends, after The Walking Dead ends, right? So I think a lot of this is starting to make sense. I think this is exactly how they're going to market it. And yeah, I'm really excited. So definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.